Hello, Brett. Hello, Dhiren, and welcome
Hey,
to What's the
Mike.
Future. Are you, Brett? Are you quiet there?
No, I'm just saying, like, I think I'm much better than you at introducing. Welcome to What's the Future. And with us today is Dhiren Tahiram.
Or is that how you pronounce your surname?
It's actually pronounced Tahilram, but yeah, Brett's pretty close.
Not bad. And with me is also our fat boy colleague, Michael Cohen.
Cowan, actually. But we're not talking about us. We're talking about backup and disaster recovery. And this is actually really important. So this is the first one of our series on cloud. And what we're finding, and Brett, jump in as you normally do, a lot of our clients are suddenly scrambling because we've got 3 weeks lockdown and we need to back up. We need to make sure we're secure. Okay, you do the introduction better than me then. All right, shake your head at me. How would you pitch that, Brett?
No, but you're right, Mike. It's disaster time.
It is disaster time. It's like the show, the disaster show. Hey?
Right?
I missed
it. It's in a complete disaster. So, like we're talking about going digital and, there are various things you need to do to make it digital. But the reality is we're in a time of disaster. So there are a couple of things we've got to consider. And I think before you even think digital, just think about what else could go more wrong. The more that I talk to people, the more I'm realizing this is not a 3-week, we're going on a little bit of a holiday and we come back.
I agree.
You need to make sure you have every single plan in place that could go wrong, whether it's skills, whether it's systems, whether it's connectivity, food, you name it. This is the first time as a nation we're thinking of everything. So on that note, we figured the best thing to do is really to think about how we manage disasters, right? And so that's why we've got...
Can I interrupt there? Because we've seen 1 or 2 clients that we've gone in to help sort some problems out. They've had no disaster plan, they've had no recovery plan, they've had no documentation, no rollover strategy, nothing. And they're phoning us now in an absolute panic. And this is why we're actually putting this right up front, because this is real. Clients are phoning us and we're now working remotely, trying to solve some pretty serious issues because they didn't have these plans in place. And we've got other clients that are moving very, very quickly to put these into place. So the teams are scrambling. So back to you, Brett. Sorry, I thought that was important to add on. It's happening.
Agreed. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk you through 2 types of plans you need to have in place with your technology. The first one's going to be for small business. The second one is going to be for the slightly bigger business. And what I want to do is quickly draw this out. So I'm going to share my desktop. And what we're going to do is draw it out very quickly. And then what I want is Dhiren kindly set up an environment where he's actually going to demonstrate how easy it is to prepare and fail over when you're in a time of disaster. So let me...
before you go, just Dhiren works for Terraflow, cloud architect, security specialist. This is his happy playing field. So yeah, over back to you, Brett. Just thought I needed to add who you were a bit more.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so can everyone see my screen, I'm sure?
Yes, a big white screen.
My big white screen. So what I want to really show you guys. It's good, eh? So let's start with the small...
drawing skills, Brett.
You what?
I said it's time to evaluate your drawing skills.
Oh, bugger. So look, I'm even picking the color of my pen correctly. So let's talk about little businesses first, right? So they've got laptops. The most important thing, if you're going to survive a time of crisis or disaster, is going to be backing up your data. And now backing up your data, really the easiest way to do it is you've got a couple of choices of cloud providers. You've either got G Suite, or you have Office 365. What's nice about it is if you've moved all your documents, your spreadsheets into either G Suite or Office 365, they're stored up there. Microsoft and Google will manage any failover of machines, hard drives failing. It'll always be there. It'll always be safe. It's been backed up 10,000 times. So everything's pretty safe. But what you can also do is you can move all your photos. You can move anything you want into, for instance, G Drive. Or, Dhiren, what's the Microsoft version of G Drive again? OneDrive.
OneCloud, yeah.
And guys, these can sync. So you can sync them backwards and forwards. Super easy, super effective. That's for small businesses. Now, if you're not doing this, guys, ASAP, it's worth the $5 or $7 a month to register for these services. They also come with their own free video calling systems, plus all their office utilities and collaboration. Do it. You can also buy extra storage. I have 1 terabyte of storage. So now let's look at the big businesses, right? So in a big business, you've got a bunch of data centers. So let's see if I can draw a data center. This is essentially a rack of servers. And what generally happens is they've got the same problem. They need to store the data. Usually what happens is most big businesses have to do the pain of setting up a disaster recovery site. So I'm just doing it in red. Now, the difference between an on-site and the disaster recovery site is that on-site, you sit with 100% of the capacity you require in your servers. But in your disaster recovery, you're sitting with about 60%. So when things go wrong, you literally fail over to there. Most businesses will have policies like banks. It'll take 4 to 6 hours to restore in these environments. That's great, but this is really expensive to get up and running, right? So what we're saying now is the world has changed, guys. You need to take this seriously. I've been into so much. In fact, Mike just mentioned it now. So many businesses where this is a complete mess. Nothing's been really planned. So what do you need to do? You need to start thinking cloud. I don't care which cloud provider, but you need to think cloud ASAP. This is the world's worst cloud. You know, when you look up in the sky and you see like horses and stuff, this is just this weird chunky cloud of a oblong. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start storing your backups into this cloud. So let's make it a different color. So let's say you've got a bunch of applications and databases. You're going to literally make a snap, move them through your pipe, and this will be your backup. So now it's sitting safe, and you can do that every 15 minutes if you wish, or you can do it every day. I don't care on your frequency, but get it backed up. Create the VPN, move it up there. It's safe. Now all the pain and all the compliance is being managed by the cloud providers, whether it's Amazon, Google, or Microsoft. Now what happens? So you reach a time of crisis. Instead of failing over to the old system, right? What you're going to do is you're going to fail over into the cloud. Guys, super easy. What's great with these new technologies is, and we've got various customers who we've actually tested and done this in minutes. So when everything goes down, you immediately just fire up a bunch of scripts. These did not exist before. They were just scripts. It literally launches the exact replica that you've backed up in minutes or hours. So very important that you start restoring stuff into the cloud. Now, what happens if you're already running stuff in the cloud? So a lot of people have already migrated all their environments into the cloud. Are you going to back everything up to an on-site? Not a chance, guys. You're probably going to back up to a different region, or you're going to back up to a different cloud provider. But either way, you have the same benefit. When things go wrong, you will just restore using a backup and disaster recovery tool. It literally is that easy. Backups were super complicated in the old environment. Why? Because you had to keep these two environments in sync, and it was a disaster and very expensive. It's now super cheap. So on that note, what I'd like to do is, Dhiren, can you just do a demo for us? You know, just do the last part. Something in the cloud, cause it to fall over, and let's see how easy this actually is.
Sure, Brett. Not a problem at all. I'm just going to share my screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. I will be explaining what I'm doing as I'm going through it. I'll be sure not to mention too much technical details. But basically what I've done is, so the cloud of choice that I have for today is Google Cloud Platform. I will be testing an amazing backup tool called Haiku. I've been playing around with it for a while. It seems to have a lot of capability and is very, very simple to use. I will show you guys that now. So what I've basically done is I've spun up a virtual machine. It's a very small virtual machine, as you can see. Basically what this is a LAMP server. Just to show you, it's pretty much, nothing's been set up on the server. It's just a very basic LAMP server, but it was just to kind of demonstrate that this is what the LAMP server would typically serve once it's been spun up. What I'm going to do is cause the server to fail, or I'm just going to shut it down, is to show some point of failure. And what I'm going to do is use Haiku to bring the server back up again. So basically, let's say this is a web server that one of your companies is using. This is serving clients, and for some reason the server decides to fail, or someone shuts it down, or it gets deleted, or whatever the case may be. And boom, there it goes. And what happens now is none of your clients, none of your customers can get to your websites. You're basically losing money by the minute. And this is now something that the Haiku tool can actually come in and help you in a very a quick sense. So I'm just going to wait for this server to shut down. But in the meantime, what I'm going to show you is the Haiku environment. So this is pretty much the Haiku environment that you will be working with in GCP or in the cloud. As you can see, it gives you a pretty decent dashboard. It shows you the policies that are in place, your instances that are protected, your backup success rates, your events, your tasks, and your buckets. So these are basically storage buckets that are hosted within GCP.
So you've basically got one server backed up there at the moment, and that's that particular server you're testing, right?
That's that particular server, that's correct. So as you can see, Haiku pretty much picks up all servers within your environment. So I didn't have to basically get it to scan the environment. It does it automatically. So you can see over here, that's the test-1-VM, which Haiku has picked up by itself. Once it's been backed up, it tells you that it's got a tick for complacency, it's got a tick for protection. And as you can see here, it will tell you basically when the last restore point was. So as you can see, this has done one backup for the time being, but you can set different policies that allow it to back up so many different times a day, depending on how critical that system is. So what I'm going to do now is, as we can see, that server has now been shut down on that. So that's been shut down. That means it's not serving anymore. Customers can't get to that website. What we're going to do is we're going to ask Haiku to restore this instance for us. All right, now it gives you two options. You can restore it as its original instance with its original name, or you can restore it as a different instance. Now, for example, if your environment or the entire region, let's say, has gone down, you can spin up this instance in a different region, because since the backup is there, it can spin it up wherever it needs to be spun up. So just for us to separate the two virtual environments, I'm going to name this test VM or test2 VM. I'm going to set it up in, let's say, Europe, or yeah, I'm going to choose Europe West 4. I think this is Google's data center in Finland. Let's set it up in one of the zones there. You can add a network interface. So for example, this one's just got the default network interface for now. You can then decide if you want to set up a static IP address, internal, or a new IP address. And then your external IP addresses. Now, since it's a website box, we will be actually using for now, I'm going to be using an ephemeral IP address, but it's going to be automatic. But essentially what you'd want to do in that sense is you'd want to reserve an IP address, because that will link back to your domain name or your DNS name for that matter. But for now, I'm just going to do it like this. It's a lot simpler. And just to show you the power of the Haiku tool. So just click restore on that. And Haiku will basically give you a restore status over here. So obviously when this reaches 100%, your instance will be restored, and you should have full access to your VM once again. So while that's busy happening.
Very quick question. So Haiku is a great backup and restore tool, which is great in the time of disaster recovery. So imagine this is your whole data center going down, and very easily be able to repoint, recheck, and get everything up and running. There are tools out there that can essentially do it more real time and automatic. Tools like Commvault, but again, it comes with a price point. But what's nice is you're not having to run 2 data centers in parallel. Essentially, run this one. When this one falls over for whatever reason, within minutes you can fire up a separate one that is exactly the same copy, depending on the last backup that you made here. That's why you should do it fairly regularly. That's very cool, right? Super easy.
Very, very
Usually
easy.
backups are a disaster, right?
It's a big problem. I know a lot of companies have issues with that, especially when it comes to things like auditing. And a lot of companies have to have these backup policies and disaster recovery policies in place, and they need to have a plan of action for when something goes wrong. And a lot of companies don't actually focus on this because it's kind of a last call that they work on. You know, they want to get the environments up and running. They want to make sure that it's serving their customers. They want to make sure that their employees can work in the environment. But it's always a last plan of action when it comes to disaster recovery. No one takes that as a priority. And when something does happen, no one has these plans in place. Simply because it either costs too much, or it's too difficult to implement, or there's always some reason as to why disaster recovery never takes priority. But now with tools like these, it makes things a lot simpler. You can manage it by yourself within the company. You don't need expensive resources to be managing this for you all the time. And I think it makes your life a lot easier. And that's probably why using technology such as Haiku and cloud, it makes things a lot easier for the business, and it makes things a lot easier to manage your servers and your environments yourself.
Brilliant.
So on the point of time, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to restore. So we're not going to wait for it to restore. Dhiren, that was absolutely fantastic. I think you nailed the user, the reasons, the value of doing a disaster plan, making sure it's there. So if you're small businesses, you know what to do now. If you're a large business, take it seriously. Dhiren, you want to stop sharing your screen? Mike, take us out.
Thanks, guys. I think that was really insightful. Makes it super simple. You know what's cool, actually? I remember looking at the Haiku demonstration and looking at it again. It just reminds me, I'm a technical moron. I'm not a coder. I'm not a techie. I'm not a data engineer, but I can do this. Simple. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.